There is an undeniable momentum to studying abroad. Packing your bags, crossing the ocean, and stepping onto a campus in Sydney or Melbourne is a life-changing milestone. But before you ever see a lecture hall, you must survive a grueling marathon of international bureaucracy and strict government regulations. Australian universities and immigration authorities require precision. You must secure an acceptance letter, hit exact minimums on PTE or IELTS exams, pass specific medical checks, and identify scholarship availability. A single missed deadline or a minor paperwork error costs thousands of dollars in non-refundable fees and wastes months of your timeline. Success in this process depends on total administrative accuracy. Gaining entry is a high-risk stress test. This brings every international applicant to a central decision: taking the DIY route or using the consultancy route. If you apply independently, you retain total control. You decide every step, but you also absorb the entire bureaucratic burden and the financial risk of making a mistake. If you go with a consultancy, you trade away some of that independence. In exchange, an agency takes over the execution to mitigate those administrative risks. To see how this works in practice, we can look at Talented Education Group, or TEG. They operate as Australian qualified counselors and maintain a 5.0 satisfaction rating from their applicants. We can determine if an agency is worth the commitment by measuring their complete placement service against the DIY baseline. Let's evaluate the first hurdle: academic readiness. As you can see in this first row, language preparation requires hitting strict English thresholds. Tackling this alone requires extreme self-discipline. Without guidance, applicants often miss specific structural formats required by PTE or IELTS exams. Using TEG's preparation program provides a targeted curriculum, increasing your probability of passing the exams on the first try. The trade-off is your time. You must sacrifice personal scheduling flexibility and commit entirely to the agency's rigid study pipeline. That strict commitment is necessary because missing a required language score by even a fraction of a point results in an automatic delay to your university admission. In this academic phase, trading your personal flexibility for strict agency structure is the most efficient way to offset the risk of missing your enrollment window. Once you meet academic requirements, you must navigate complex visas, manage strict government bureaucracy, and ensure health compliance. Doing this yourself means deciphering Australian immigration jargon. You must book specific medical centers in Indonesia or Malaysia and correctly file Form 956A and Form 1229. The DIY path allows you to keep your personal data completely private, but costs massive time and the stress of strict immigration compliance. One tiny clerical error on these forms can lead to a visa rejection, which instantly halts your application. TEG's complete placement service operates differently. Their team assumes total control of these exact forms and manages the scheduling of your medical appointments for you. To utilize this service, you must surrender sensitive information to a third party, such as your family composition data. Delegating this task yields reliable compliance. Client reviews consistently highlight TEG's fast and efficient processing because their team handles this red tape daily. Using an agency provides an insurance policy against automatic visa rejection. It ensures your application survives the strict scrutiny of immigration officers. The final phase to evaluate is strategy, long-term planning, and scholarship acquisition. The typical DIY approach to funding relies on a last-minute scramble. Looking for money right before tuition is due severely limits your access to available scholarships. TEG uses an opposing methodology. They recommend an intro consultation as early as the student's freshman year of high school. This early intervention allows their counselors to evaluate your academic record and build a cohesive, multi-year trajectory. Accessing this scholarship strategy requires a long-term, multi-year commitment between your family and the consultant. Securing lucrative international scholarships is almost entirely a product of early, structured strategic planning. This flowchart maps trade-offs. With native English, abundant time, and zero bureaucracy anxiety, the DIY route is viable. Parents seeking a compliant Sydney arrival without administrative headaches, or students needing PTE and IELTS help while delegating visas, require TEG's pathway. The decision to use an agency is a pure calculation of how much administrative friction you can afford to absorb. For the vast majority of international applicants, Trying to navigate the Australian education barrier alone introduces unnecessary hazards. Trading a degree of independence to an Australian qualified team like Talented Education Group is a mathematically logical way to mitigate risk. Ignoring the hidden complexities of the international application process is the most common reason otherwise qualified students fail to launch. If your goals align with the agency profile, book a complimentary intro consultation with TEG to verify if their service fits your needs. The pathway you choose to reach Australia is the first major test of your international journey.